faith is. It's so important.
The whole issue is respect. You know, people of different faiths can respect each other, and actually all religions at their core are about respect and a respect for differences, and I think people that are truly religious understand that.
Along with tolerance for other communities, the LAPD is also urging vigilance. The more eyes and ears involved in protecting our neighborhoods, the more trust we can build between them. Outside LAPD headquarters, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Also joining the LAPD were leaders from the LA Catholic Archdiocese, the LA Buddhist Union, and the First AME Church. Police have caught up with the sexual predator known for attacking at least 2 victims in LA, but investigators believe there could be more victims, and they're asking the public for help. Anna Marcos has the details.
The suspect allegedly uses photography and modeling as a way to lure and sexually assault young men in Los Angeles. So far, the LAPD know of 2 incidents, one involving a minor. They say they arrested 34-year-old John Everett Perry in Palm Springs after the sexual attacks happened in LA's Los Feliz area. Perry faces 4 charges, including committing lewd acts on a child under 16. In one incident, Perry, a photographer, approached a 15-year-old boy and asked if he was interested in modeling.
When the victim expressed an interest, Perry lured him into his vehicle where he sexually assaulted him.
45 minutes later, police say Perry approached a 25-year-old male victim at a Starbucks on Los Feliz Boulevard, posing as a fashion photographer, and sexually assaulted him in a bathroom.
He approached some very young men. Obviously, one of the common things was that he was very approachable, very friendly. He was very easily befriended.
Police believe there are more victims out there, and they hope they will come forward. Anyone with information can call Detective Michelle Gomez at the LAPD at 323-344-5742 or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-8477. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Police say there could be victims in LA or Orange County, as well as other locations. We turn now to the city's continued efforts to become more bike-friendly. Over in Hollywood on Yucca Street, a traffic nightmare transforms into a popular bike route. Anna Marcos was there.
A bicycle caravan cruises down Yucca Street in Hollywood. The bike is king in this part of Yucca between Cahuenga Boulevard and Highland Avenue. Ever since city leaders retrofitted street dividers and put up bike-sharing lane markings and new signs. The bike-friendly ride gives cyclists a safer alternative to the busier streets like Hollywood and Sunset Boulevards.
This is important to communities. Hollywood as a challenge because it's so impacted by traffic on Highland and Hollywood Boulevard, Sunset Boulevard. But this is a street that we're transforming.
The biggest impact on the street will be these dividers with their diverters because they keep traffic out but let bikes through. Both street cleaning trucks and cars have to turn around here, unable to get through. It limits traffic, which is great news for both bike riders and kids at the nearby Yucca Community Center.
They're able to ride safely. We walk the children around this area. Now that we have the pillars up, we don't have to worry about cars coming through.
This Hollywood bike cruise is already drawing fans.
I'm here to represent the average Joe cyclist that rides around the city.
As an avid cyclist myself, these types of projects will encourage me to get out of my car more often as well.
City leaders plan to put up more of these bike-friendly alternative streets to run parallel to some of Hollywood's busiest traffic areas. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
The project is a joint effort by Council Districts 4 and 13, the city's Department of Transportation, and the Bureau of Street Services. Also in Hollywood, tour bus operators will no longer be allowed to approach customers on sidewalks under a newly amended ordinance. As Anita Bennett reports, it's meant to crack down on aggressive sales tactics.
We're going on the Starline tour. We're going to see 40 celebrity houses. And just around the, Los Angeles area.
This family from the San Francisco Bay Area is looking forward to seeing LA. Meantime, the city is looking at a new law to make sure visitors like them don't get taken for a ride.
A problem has been building on Hollywood Boulevard wherein these rogue tour bus operators openly sell and hawk tickets for sightseeing tours all up and down the boulevard.
Sometimes those companies would pressure tourists to buy tickets or even take their money and disappear. Now, after years of complaints, the City Council has passed a newly amended ordinance to crack down.
This ordinance will prohibit sales of sightseeing buses on the public right-of-way on our streets and sidewalks.
The director of the largest tour company in LA is speaking out about this ordinance, and he has a lot to say.
We're absolutely thrilled it's been put through at last. It means that at last tourists will just get the respectable tour companies out there, and they won't be hounded all the way down the boulevard by anybody who wants to happen to sell a tour.
Up until now, bus companies, especially smaller ones, would approach tourists as they walk down the streets of Hollywood. But Councilman O'Farrell says that led to a Wild West-type competition for sales. Now this new ordinance is meant to dial down that aggressive behavior. On the Hollywood Walk of Fame, I'm Anita Bennett for LA This Week.
Once it takes effect, tour operators will only be able to sell tickets out of a storefront or online. Kids at one public housing development won't have to travel far to visit a library. In fact, a library complete with a computer lab has come to them. Anna Marcos explains.
Guess what? You got it.
There's a lot of reading going on at the new community library in Estrada Courts. The Boyle Heights Public Housing Development is celebrating the grand opening of its very own library.
Children who have access to books, who come to the library and make use of it and develop a love of reading are going to be reading at grade level when they are at third grade. They're going to be successful in school, and they're going to have successful and enriching lives.
The project is a joint effort by the LA Public Library, the Housing Authority of the City of Los Angeles, and community organizations like Kids Progress, Inc. So far, another community library at the Ramona Gardens Housing Project has been very successful. Community leaders hope for success here as well, in a neighborhood where kids often face many obstacles to success.
We got a lot of feedback from the residents there that although there was a nearby library, it was difficult for them to get access to because it crossed gang boundaries.
They are our children, and we will let them learn.
Singing megastar will.i.am, who grew up in Boyle Heights, has donated dozens of computers, together with the I Am Angel Foundation.
This is where it all started for will.i.am, and so having an up-to-date library is critical to keeping the community safe and competitive.
The library will also be a Wi-Fi hot zone for kids without computer access at home. And organizers hope it will be a hotbed of learning as well. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
3 bilingual librarians will help staff the library. Thanks to a renaissance downtown, entrepreneurs are setting their sights on Los Angeles once again, and doing so with the help of City Hall. The message: the city wants your business.
David McGrath is a trained chef, but after spending more than 2 decades in the food service and hospitality business, he was ready to venture out on his own by opening a champagne lounge. And of all the places, McGrath chose to open the lounge in downtown LA because of the renewed energy that's once again bustling on the streets.
Just keeps getting better and better. We've been here 3 years, and we've seen a drastic improvement in all facets: safety, cleanliness, and just more and more businesses opening up, as well as residential.
McGrath's new Aqua Lounge, a chic and contemporary champagne bar in the heart of downtown, is part of Councilmember Jose Huizar's district, a district the councilman has been working hard to make into the destination spot it once was decades ago.
Downtown is changing, and we have people who are beginning to live here, more people who are coming back to work in downtown, and this will add to a place where there's more and more people walking the streets, venues like this to continue the upswing of downtown Los Angeles.
What also made opening his business here in Los Angeles attractive was the assistance McGrath received from the Valley Economic Development Center, or VEDC, a partner of the City of Los Angeles.
They provided a loan to do many of the tenant improvements and working capital. They're a great organization.
VEDC assists businesses with loans and helps walk them through the city's required paperwork.
We actually started working with David back in 2010 when we helped to finance the Onyx Lounge, and we're very proud to be able to help finance this business here.
In return, new businesses like Aqua Lounge bring jobs, in this case 15 new jobs, a give-and-take partnership between a city and its business owners. Now that's worth popping open the bubbly. The Aqua Lounge is located at 500 South Spring Street. It will serve approximately 15 champagnes and sparkling wines by the glass, specialty champagne cocktails, and over 150 champagnes by the bottle. Ever wonder how cities clean their water? Well, now you can find that out and a lot more thanks to a new environmental learning center from the city's Department of Public Works. Yana Kay takes us there.
This interactive water treatment exhibit gives visitors an inside look at how water is cleaned at the Hyperion Treatment Plant. It's all part of a new environmental learning center that promotes the importance of sustainability and of protecting the environment.
If we don't take care of the environment will not take care of us. My school asks for empty bottles and cans so that we can all take part in recycling.
The 20,000 square foot facility located at the Hyperion Treatment Plant in Playa del Rey was officially opened to the public recently, with various city officials and community members taking a tour of what the center has to offer.
This place is wicked cool. I gotta say, the highlight of my day, I'm heartbroken at the idea of having to go back to an office later to have this view and to be able to go in there and play.
The new center is designed to increase the public's awareness of the impact of human activity on our surroundings through interactive, state-of-the-art exhibits. The goal is to empower everyone to do their part.
A sustainable life is possible here in the City of Angels. Indeed, it is the most important thing.
The building itself is energy efficient with a green roof, solar panels, and a solar hot water heater. It also features a stream and wetland. A hands-on experience that officials hope can make a difference, one recycled can at a time. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
And more on water, a summit to discuss how cities can continue to conserve H2O. A council member advocates for professional football to come to LA, and a long-awaited project finally breaks ground in Chinatown. These stories and more in City Beat. The One Water Leadership Summit held recently in Los Angeles focused on water sustainability and explored how cities can promote smarter water solutions. While LA faces many water challenges, Mayor Eric Garcetti says residents have done their part to conserve water by voting on things like the Prop O Clean Water Bond.
I know you'll see some of the projects that we've done that we've showed voters will vote for, that we've shown communities will embrace, and that have had the secondary impact of making sure that we sustain life here for some time.
Some of the nation's water conservationists also shared success stories on how their cities conserve water through integration, capture, and reuse. Los Angeles uses between 500 and 6 million gallons of water a day. The Los Angeles City Council Economic Development Committee recently discussed a motion brought forth by Councilmember Tom LaBonge to bring the National Football League back to Los Angeles. His motion was seconded by 6 fellow council members.
But I'm going to continue to advocate. I'm working on a campaign to reach out to NFL players who are retired in Los Angeles to have them, remind them. It puzzles me why, out of 32 teams, one doesn't want to come here to sunny Southern California. And I would hope that they do. And we just wanted to let them know that, and the day will come.
The motion also encourages the league to bring 2 football teams to the city. A project in Chinatown in the planning stages during former Councilmember Ed Reyes' tenure as council member of the 1st District is finally in construction now under new Councilmember Gil Cedillo's watch. Cedillo helped kick off construction for the Blossom Plaza development that had been held up for well over 10 years. The mixed-use complex will boast 237 housing units, including some low-income units, as well as retail and restaurant space. Cedillo advocated for the additional $4 million needed to finance and secure the completion of the project, which is projected to be completed in the spring of 2016. Roosevelt High School students and their parents recently joined Councilman Jose Huizar to celebrate the installation of a new traffic light right outside the school at East 4th and South Fickett Streets in Boyle Heights. Parents concerned over safety have worked with Weezar's office and that of the Department of Transportation for the last 5 years to get a light installed at the busy intersection. The Department of Transportation identified Proposition C dollars to fund the light installation, along with prioritizing about a dozen other unfunded traffic signals near schools. Nearly 500 people came out recently to the PortTech LA Expo to see how new green technology is helping shape LA's future. Yana Kay has more.
These may look like your typical everyday cars, but if you look closer, you'll see that they run on electricity. These cars and trucks were on display at the 4th annual PortTech LA Expo as examples of clean technology. The expo, held at the port's crafted warehouse, showcased sustainable port technologies that port officials say is vital to the future of the city.
We need to grow this port because by growing this port, we grow Los Angeles. By making this port more valuable, we grow Los Angeles and every portion of Los Angeles.
Mayor Eric Garcetti says this event promotes and advances clean port technology and also connects smaller tech companies with other green business leaders to help them grow and expand.
We've shown that when somebody gets an incubator experience, meaning they get a mentor, they get advice, access to capital, they go from being just an idea to a successful company at a much higher rate than most startups.
And to help the city's startups grow, a new city office has been created called the Economic Workforce and Development Department, which offers local businesses assistance and incentives.
Our task is to identify and to make the best use of our resources, both monetary and people, to drive an innovation and creativity agenda.
An innovative agenda that city officials hope will put the Port of Los Angeles ahead of all the others. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
Local students also attended the expo to learn about becoming scientists and engineers. In this week's list of things to do, Grand Park turns 1, Totem in San Pedro, and the Taste of Encino. While the Disney Concert Hall has just turned 10, Grand Park downtown turns 1 on Thursday, October 10th. From 7 to 10 p.m. Thursday, enjoy a free concert on Grand Park's performance lawn at 200 North Grand Avenue. You're encouraged to bring a picnic. The concert is being held in conjunction with Daniel Pearl World Music Days, an international network of concerts that use the power of music to reaffirm our commitment to tolerance and humanity. Go to grandparkla.org for details. Your chance to catch the Cirque du Soleil show Totem is here. Totem opens on Friday, October 11th at 8 p.m. at the Port of Los Angeles Pier in San Pedro, located at 311 South Minor Street at Berth 46. It leaves for Irvine at the beginning of November. Combining mesmerizing acrobatic acts and stunning visual effects, Totem illustrates the evolutionary progress of the human species in an uplifting display of athleticism, comedy, and beauty. For tickets and other information, go to cirquedusoleil.com/totem. And a bit further north in Encino, on Sunday, October 13th, the Encino Chamber of Commerce presents the 26th anniversary of the Taste of Encino from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. It takes place along Ventura Boulevard from Balboa to Amestoy. There will be, of course, food, arts and crafts, a wellness pavilion, live music, and activities for kids. Admission is free, so bring the whole family. The LA Kings Ice Crew and LA Galaxy Star Squad will also be making a special appearance with great prize giveaways. Go to tasteofencino.com. A portion of the proceeds raised will help fund local school and community projects. And that's a look at some upcoming things to do. And as we just told you, the wait is almost over for Cirque du Soleil's Totem. But before the show can raise the curtains, it had to first raise the tent. Yana Kay takes us to the raising of the big top.
The famous blue and yellow Big Top tent is taking shape in San Pedro as crews prepare the massive arena for Cirque du Soleil's traveling show called Totem. Cirque officials say they're thrilled to be part of the growing community.
It's a community that's on the rise, and this area is certainly wonderful. It's just a glorious space, and we're very excited to be a part of this growing community.
Cirque du Soleil officials say it takes an army to get the tent ready. A total of 200 people work for 8 days to set it up. The Big Top stands 66 feet high, and the 4 masts are 80 feet tall.
We take you through this magical journey. When you walk into the Big Top, you're kind of transported into this other world, which we hope takes you out of your daily routine of life.
Totem takes viewers on an incredible journey through mankind's evolution, a story that city officials say mirrors the transformation taking place in San Pedro itself.
Recently, we named a developer in redeveloping the LA waterfront. We have the USS Iowa here crafted, and to officially welcome Cirque du Soleil here in Los Angeles and San Pedro in the harbor area is fantastic.
The Big Top seats more than 2,600 people who will be treated to acrobatic acts and stunning visual effects. Totem will be in San Pedro starting October 11th until November 10th. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
After its run in San Pedro, Totem heads to Irvine and then to Santa Monica. And that's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ellen Chang. A reminder that you could catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
With all the zombies.
Alert LA County. It takes the surprise out of disasters like zombie attacks. And without surprise, they're out of a job.
Alert LA County is a free automated system which sends out information about emergency events via telephone, text, and email.
Any skills besides flesh eating? Pick that up.
Events may include disasters, evacuations, safety notices, and if necessary, zombie attacks.
Next.
Register at alert.lacounty.gov.
G'day, Troy McCubbin from North Hollywood. You're watching LA City View, Channel 35, our city, our channel.
Sergeant, would you please call the members and have them report to the council chambers so that we can begin our day? Since our city attorney is here and present, and he has a very busy calendar, I would request that all members report to the council chambers immediately. sergeants please call the members and have them report to the council chambers so we can begin today's business. And please give me the ETAs as to when they will arrive. If you're in your offices, please report to Mr. Buscaino is here. Please report to the council chambers. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Friday, October 11th. I want to welcome you to your Los Angeles City Council chambers. This council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 a.m. Mr. Clerk, I believe that we do have a quorum. Could you please call the roll?
Blumenfield, Bonner, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Huizar, Carrasco, Corcoran, Labange, Martinez, O'Farrell, Parks, Price, Weston, 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, first order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Bonin moves, Blumenfield seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Martinez moves, O'Farrell seconds. That brings us where?
Mr. President, before getting into today's agenda, there are requests from members to continue item 1 to October 18.
Without objection.
Refer item 2 back to the Economic Development Committee.
Without objection.
And continue item 4 to November 19.
Without objection.
Very good, sir. Items 3 through 6 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, those items are now before this body?
Yes, sir.
Do we have cards?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Huizar. Sorry, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Huizar?
Number 6 special, please.
Number 6 special for Mr. Huizar. Cards?
Yes, sir. Cards on all 3 items.
Okay, we'll hold them all. That brings us... I think that does it.
Yes, sir.
So that brings us to presentations?
Yes, sir.
Right? Mr. Labange, if I can have you.
Good morning again. Welcome to the John Farrell Chambers. I'm going to call on the President of the City Council and our very special representative from Animal Services Department for our Adopt a Pet. Please give Louie a big hand right here. We love Louie. All right. Thank you, Arlene. Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. Today, again, is one of my favorite days. It is Pet Adoption Friday. What we have today is little Louie. Louie is about 5 months old, correct? He's ready to go today. He's part, well, he's really part wiener dog. You guys know he's a part wiener dog. He's got, I was told that he's the color of Louis Vuitton luggage. And Louis is looking for a home, a very lovable dog. One of the things that we have in the city of LA is we have a 100%, oh, thank you. We have a 100% adoption rate for our dogs. So I'm asking anyone that's in the chambers today, anyone that's watching us on the television screen, here, come here. I mean, this is one of our great volunteers. I think she's been helping me for the past 3 years. At least that, right?
About 7.
7 years? Okay. I didn't want to age my... Really? Okay. So anyway, before...
To say something, I think.
Yeah, Louis, the mic is yours. You want to say something? Anyway, if you want to adopt Louis, let us know. We're going to keep him in the back of chambers for a little while. And again, like I said, we have a 100% adoption rate. Most of the individuals that adopt our dogs do it. They work for the city of LA. So we're going to have Louis in the back for a while in hopes of finding the family that he deserves. Look, we have thousands of animals that need homes, and we do the very best that we can to find them homes. But what I'm asking for you to do today is to save Louie's life, because we don't know how long we'll be able to keep him in our shelter. And so he wants to go home and chew up your socks and have fun with you like all dogs do. Let's don't take that right away from him. So we've got Louie, who's ready to go today, 5 months old, and you told me he will not get much bigger than this, right? So this is about as big as he gets. Look at that face. Look at those eyes. He's very much looking for a home. So anyway, help us out. Take Louis, make your day. Have a great weekend. So, Mr. President, would you like for me to just put Louis on the side and keep him for you?
I think I would, but Mrs. Labange adopted a rescue just last week.
She didn't adopt it for me.
She did. She wanted to, Mr. President, but I was the dog first, and then to be a good dog, I got her a dog. So that's it.
That's a good husband. But anyway, so please, we'll be in the back with Louis for the next half hour, give or take. So please, let's make this a happy day for you and a happy day for Louis.
And Mr. President,
yes,
as you finish there, Arlene McNeil right there, she also was on our float that we have, celebrating the same thing that you do every Friday, adopt a dog, and she's a great representative for Animal Services. So,
Arlene, on what float? You on a float?
In the Rose Parade. In the Rose Parade.
Tell us about it.
I was invited to be a part of the Rose Parade on the float for LA Animal Services with the Pet Care Foundation, which actually sponsors a lot and donates a lot of stuff to the department. And I'm actually staff for LA Animal Services. So I enjoy doing this and placing our pets into homes. So thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you very much, Arlene. Give him a big hand.
7 years. Wow.
You said you didn't want to give your age?
I didn't want to give my age.
All right, now a very special presentation for all people are special, but some are extremely special today. Councilman Mitch O'Farrell for great recognition. Big hand for Councilman O'Farrell. Thank you.
And our colleague, Jose Huizar, is going to join us this morning. Mr. President, colleagues, I just want to say that this is my first wardrobe change in the Los Angeles City Council, and it takes me back a few years, so it's great to be standing here in my barong. It is Filipino Heritage Month, Filipino America Heritage Month. We have Consul General de la Vega, Linda Granados, the President of Los Angeles Filipino American City Employees. We also have Linda Granados, President of... There, I just said that. Thank you. And then we have Jessica Lee, Miss Philippines, contestant right here. No presentation is complete without a beauty queen. I stand here today with my colleague Jose Huizar, Philippine Consul General Helen Barber de la Vega, LaFace President Linda Granados, as I mentioned. Earlier this morning, we held a ribbon-cutting ceremony with our colleague Felipe Fuentes at the Henry P. Rio Bridge that showcased the artwork of 3 talented Filipino-American artists that are with us today. We have Bobby Romero, Cesar de Vera, Alex Gantioki, and after Council Day, I encourage all of you to go see their wonderful, incredible art that's hanging on at the bridge on the wall. Since the Filipinos' first arrival in this country, they have made significant contributions to our country's social, economic, political, educational, artistic, scientific, and entertainment communities. Filipinos helped build this country's infrastructure, worked in our farms and our plantations, fought valiantly in our nation's armed services, served honorably in public service, and are now even becoming staples in the entertainment community. And it seems like every year they win Miss Universe because they're a beautiful people. From labor leaders Larry Itiliong and Philip Veracruz to writer Carlos Bulusan to our former city clerk June Lagme, Filipinos have made their mark throughout this nation's history, and they have made their mark in the great 13th District with historic Filipino Town, which we dedicated 11 years ago. I'm particularly proud to be here today as the representative of Hi-Fi, a neighborhood that's been home to Filipinos since the 1940s and served as a gateway for many Filipino immigrants in Los Angeles. Today, Hi-Fi remains the cultural heart of the Filipino-American community in Los Angeles. 2 years ago, it was named one of Preserve America's historic neighborhoods. It is on the register for historic places and tourist locations on the federal listing. And to that end, I take that very seriously, and we're doing all we can at the local level to help preserve historic Filipino Town and to make sure that new development honors that heritage as well. That's why I introduced a motion calling for a design overlay zone for historic Filipino Town. So we're going to be working on that over the next year. Many important Filipino churches and nonprofit community organizations call Hi-Fi their home. I would now like to invite my colleague, Councilmember Jose Huizar, to say a few words.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much, Mr. O'Farrell. And colleagues, wouldn't you think this looks nice on Mr. O'Farrell? Look at this. It looks very good. And thank you very much. And once again, I'd like to give a huge welcome and thank you to the Los Angeles Filipino Association of the City Employees for the work they do not only for the city but for the community. And I also want to welcome our Consul General Helen Barber de la Vega once again to these chambers. I proudly represent Eagle Rock, and Eagle Rock has one of the largest concentrations, along with Glassell Park, Filipinos in the city of Los Angeles. As you know, they brought culture, color, good food, and certainly a lot of traditions to the northeast part of the city of Los Angeles. We've mentioned often about their contributions during World War II, and thankfully, after the election of President Obama, many of the veterans now finally got their due pay that they were due from that time and are considered equally with many of the veterans who defended this country at that time. We also have a long...
That's worth an applause, though, really.
That deserves an applause.
And we still have more to do.
We also have a number of Filipinos, as was mentioned by Councilmember O'Farrell, who've contributed to the creation of this country through infrastructure, the arts. And it's great to see our artists here today that are displaying their beautiful art in our bridge. I want to give, I think, I'm not sure if you're going to give them certificates to some of our artists, Alex Gantioki, Bobby Romero, and Cesar de Vera. Now, they're going to get their certificates, but let's give them a huge round of applause for their beautiful art. You know, art and culture go hand in hand. It expresses who we are as human beings, and when we want to express our culture and express who we are, what better way to do it than through the arts. So thank you so much for being here again. I look forward to this time each and every year. I want to introduce Kevin from my office, who I asked him if I could wear his outfit today, but he said no, that it would fit me too big, so too small. I mean, Kevin, thank you. He's an Eagle Rock resident, works for me, does my deputy planner in Eagle Rock, and does a great job of not only doing planning, but also is very involved in the Filipino-American community in Northeast Los Angeles. So thank you very much. Welcome, y que viva los Filipinos.
And now I'd like to introduce Consul General De La Vega.
Good to see you again, Consul General.
Thank you, Honorable Council President Wesson and our esteemed members from the City Council. Good morning, and thank you so much for this privilege of honoring our community on Filipino-American History Month. I think that all over the United States right now, most Filipino-Americans are lining up activities, and this is just a time to remember, for instance, that in 2009, State Senator Leland Yee passed a resolution declaring the month, officially declaring the month of October as a Filipino-American History Month. And after that, of course, this has gained national attention, which allowed or sort of like prompted the U.S. Senate and Congress to pass similar resolutions. And so all over the entire United States, we now have Filipino-American History Month in October. And I must also acknowledge the work of the various Filipino-American National Historical Societies all over in the United States for doing the rightful share for remembering the Filipino-American History Month. And of course, our latest gratitude goes to Governor Brown, who just a few days ago passed Resolution AB 123, which was pioneered by our own state legislator, Honorable Rob Bonta, for declaring or requiring the state curriculum the inclusion of the contribution of Filipino Americans in the farm labor movement in the state of California. And here in Los Angeles City, of course, we remember with fondness the work done in 2002 by then Council Member Eric Garcetti, who is now our dear mayor, when he passed a resolution declaring historic Filipino town or creating historic Filipino town. And I'm just glad that Council Member Mitch O'Farrell, I think that our Filipino-American community is very happy that he is here with us today. We know that we enjoy the same support as we did have with with Council Member Eric Garcetti before and now as our mayor. And of course, the new thriving community is of course under the stewardship of Council Member Wizar, so thank you very much, sir. Our new thriving community is in Eagle Rock, and I think our final gratitude goes to the work of our officers and members and supporters, past and present, of the Los Angeles Filipino Association of City Employees, because without them, this represents actually the largest constituency outside of the Republic of the Philippines. So we are very happy, and so we hope that you will enjoy and view the exhibit of our 3 Filipino-American artists today. Maraming salamat po. As we say in the Philippines, mabuhay. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. O'Farrell, I do have some of our colleagues that would like to say a few words. Would you like for me to call on them now?
Tell you what, let's have Linda Granados representing city employees, and then we'll do that.
Okay.
Council President Wesson, honorable council members, Consul General Helen Barber de Vega, guest artists, LaFace Board, LaFace members, distinguished guests, good morning. My name is Linda Granados of the Department of Public Works, Bureau of Sanitation, and I am the current president of the Los Angeles Filipino Association of City Employees. America has always been called the land of immigrants. And as descendants of immigrants, we are proud of our roots. We are proud of where our forefathers came from. Even though our ties with the old country may fade from generation to generation, this Filipino-American Heritage Month is a good reminder to keep us updated with our customs, traditions, and art of our ethnic background. An hour ago, as Council Member Mitch O'Farrell said, we launched the art display exhibit at the East Bridge of City Hall. Many, many thanks to Council Member Mitch O'Farrell of CD 13, Phil, for sponsoring the exhibit. And it is available to the public for the entire month of October. Please join us for a meet and greet with the artist and light refreshments later on. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, Mr. President, and before my colleagues speak, if I may introduce my deputy for Historic Filipino Town, my incredible Filipino-American deputy, Angelo Yanko, who's standing right over here. Or he was. There he is.
All right. You put a smile on his face. And now Labange is going to embarrass him. Bring him, Tom. I agree with you. Right move. Okay, let's give him a round of applause. Mr. Fuentes.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to congratulate all of you and honor you all for being here today, in particular to our Consul General. You have a very difficult, large job in California. We know that 43% of all Filipino Americans live in California, and nearly 400,000 live in the beautiful city of Los Angeles. And Mr. O'Farrell, you're very lucky that you've got such a great constituency. But we're lucky in the San Fernando Valley too, Tom. Nuri Martinez and I border Panorama City in North Hills, and one of our favorite customs at home after church at St. Genevieve, which is a very Filipino-rich parish, we go to many of the supermarkets in the area. And let me tell you, members, that I think is the most symbolic intersection of Los Angeles, whether it's Latinos, whether it's Anglos, whether it's Asian Americans and our Filipino brothers and sisters. We all shop and eat yummy food. And we get together and celebrate beautiful occasions by the bakeries and all of the things that we have in Panorama City, which is in Ms. Martinez's district. But I'm a proud neighbor, and you often see me there. So thank you very much for being here today, and congratulations on all of the contributions. And I would be remiss if I didn't point out that my very first mentor in life in middle school was a gentleman by the name of George Cargania. He was our music teacher at Boquema Middle School. And there are more mariachis in the San Fernando Valley thanks to this Filipino American. Thank you all very much.
Mr. Labange, I'm going to go to Mr. Buscaino, and then I'm going to ask you to kind of wrap things up. Mr. Joey B.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tom just hit the home run for us to close this out. Mr. O'Farrell, thanks so much for highlighting the rich culture of the Filipino heritage and culture. I'm telling you, we're so happy and blessed to host at Point Fermin Park the Filipino Arts Festival. Madam Consul General joined myself and Mitch O'Farrell, and a festival that highlighted, faith, family, community, and it was a blessing to host that in my district. And what a great lesson for the students who are here from Dana Middle School. A lesson to realize and let them know that the city of Los Angeles is so rich in diversity. Recently, we celebrated the Latino Heritage Month. Next week, we'll highlight the Italian American Heritage Month as well. And today, we're here to celebrate the people of the Filipino community. We say thank you for being here, and not only a lesson for us, but also for our kids at Dana Middle School. God bless you, and to know that my assistant, Lulu DeLongle, is, she still has not brought me, Mike Bonin, lumpia. In the last year and a half, I don't know, Lulu's listening, but what is it going to take to bring some lumpia here at City Council chambers? But we love you, we thank you, and just like the Italians, Filipinos really highlight the importance of faith, of family, of community, and good food. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Buscaino. Mr. Labange.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. O'Farrell, Mr. Weezar, but Mr. O'Farrell taking it home, following up what Mr. Garcetti did, bringing it together, simple science, historic Filipino district, all of that giving love to people, and Mr. Weezar, all that you do for others. But I had a question for Mr. Fuentes. When you're at St. Genevieve's, do you spend much time in confession? No, just talking to brother. I know, we all love each other, so we kid each other here. And that's the beauty of Filipino people. They make people feel good. And I wanted to rise, not just for the city employees, but when you mentioned California, the nurses in California are predominantly Filipino, and they came to the call when we were nurses short. So this is so important to recognize this. I see Big Eddie in the back, the head of our sister city, Makati. Give Makati a big hand, our sister city. Council General, thank you. And Mitch, take it away.
All right.
Salamat, salamat.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Labange. Mr. O'Farrell, back to you.
Colleagues, in closing this out, we're going to present certificates to Bobby Romero, Cesar de Vera, and Alex Gantioki, the wonderful artists who are on display on the bridge. So here you are, gentlemen, and a certificate to the group in honor of Filipino American Heritage Month. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, guys. Thank you so very much.
You got it. And Caesar. Thank you, sir. And then sir. The Consul General. Yes. There you go. Mabuhay. Mabuhay. Okay. Are you going to bring them? Yes. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
it's packaged.
Okay. Oh, my gosh.
Mr. Labange.
In between, can I just salute the class in the rear if they want to stand from Whittier College? They're all poets from Whittier College.
Go right ahead.
They're down here with Professor Eric Lindgren. Give them a big hand. In the back there, they're learning about local government. And
I might have allowed you to jump the gun, Mr. Labange. Mr. O'Farrell.
Colleagues, my delegation here feels it's very important for everyone to realize that food will be delivered to all of our offices for lunch today.
Oh,
Filipino
wonderful.
Food.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Let's give them another round of applause. Mr. Labange, are you finished? Or do you want to close on it now? No, you're good? Okay, as our Filipino group makes its way to the back, I'd like to ask Mr. Buscaino to come forward for an announcement and presentation.
All right. Thank you, Mr. President. It's with great joy that I introduce to you members of Miss Michelle Crow's leadership class from Richard Henry Dana Middle School in San Pedro. Let's give them a warm City Hall welcome. Many of them are here for their first time. Wave to the cameras. Daniela. And Mr. President, this leadership class really took it upon themselves in San Pedro, I believe one of several schools that took part of our sock drive not too long ago. And collectively, they collected over 500 pairs of socks for the needy in the city of Los Angeles. And this is the first leadership class that Michelle Crow re-energized at Dana Middle School, and that's Dana Middle School. Michelle's my sister, and she and I both attended Dana. And to see these leaders, these student leaders here before you is so enlightening. We're so proud of you. We love you. Some of their parents are here as well. And just know, students, that we want the best for you, and we're here to help you along your path of success. So with that, Mr. President, if I can have the student body president of
Please
Dana
go
Middle
right
School
ahead.
say a few words. Ms. Daniela Sestich.
All right. Madam President, welcome.
Good morning. My name is Daniela Sestich, and I'm the student body president of Dana Middle School. We're proud to say that Dana Middle School has collected over 525 pairs of socks for the drive.
Thank you. Give them a round of applause for the very successful sock drive that we had.
Sorry. We were really thankful for that because it really helped the students to come together and help our community. And it's really an honor to be here today. It's a really amazing experience. There's so much to learn from everyone here, and it's so great to see everyone. I think I speak for everyone in leadership when I say that this could be our next step. Already in leadership, we're learning how to lead, how to help our community, and we're also learning responsibility. And maybe one day we could have the opportunity to have a position such as all of yours.
Yes, that's right.
We'd like to thank Councilman Buscaino for hosting our school and helping us. And we'd also like to thank everyone here for letting us to come down and take this trip. And we'd also like to thank Ms. Crow for making this possible and taking us down here.
All right, Daniela.
Thank you, Ms. Crow.
Well, thank you, Daniela. As you can see, she's going to run for mayor one of these days. She's going to lead the city, and as we always say, we need more women leaders in the city of Los Angeles. And Ms. Sessis, we're so proud of you. So, Dana Middle School, we love you, and we thank you so much for your partnership in raising awareness when it comes to helping those in need. Thank you.
Let's have Ms. Crow say something. Yeah, please. She helped organize this. The young people obviously love her. They appreciate this. We'd like to hear a word or two from you.
And like her brother, she loves to sing.
Yeah, Buscainos are very shy on the mic. No, just kidding. We are very, very happy to be here and excited to be here. And for many of the students, like Councilman Buscaino said, this is their first time here. And ladies and gentlemen, these kids are your future leaders. They're great kids. I'm very proud to be their teacher. And their parents are here, a great group of parents who have raised their children right. And they will lead this city. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
I could see Mr. Buscaino, how shy she was.
Right.
Yeah. So I could tell that it runs in the family.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I want to mention Dr. Vladovic's support of making Dana Middle School a STEAM magnet. We're adding the arts, and we had a great meeting with his staff and the administrators at LA Unified School District. And we owe it to these kids the fact that the Port of Los Angeles is our international gateway of cargo, and also recent news that we're going to add City Dock 1. It's going to be a marine research center. It's fitting that we'll give the opportunity to these kids to focus on research, the arts, technology, mathematics, and science. It's so fitting. So it's great to know that we have the support for Dr. Vladovic to make Dana Middle School a magnet. So we're proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Huizar, what I had hoped to do was to move to item 6. If you're ready, once the class moves on a bit, we can go to item 6. In fact, Mr. Huizar, I have 2 public comment cards. I'll call those individuals up first and let them speak. Okay, if I could get Mr. John Walsh and Juan Acala to come up on item number 6. Mr. Walsh.
Hello, John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. This involves Mural Day. We're all for murals. And we would like to ask you to pay for a mural for Leon Prayport, the Holocaust survivor who was killed on Angel's Flight. We think it will make a wonderful advertisement so everybody out there knows, come visit our murals and be killed on the 300 feet
Stay on the
HollywoodHighlands.org. You can take back your 22 seconds.
Okay, Juana Kala. I do not see him in the room, so let's prepare. Let's turn this over to Mr. Huizar.
Well, first off, Mr. President, I want to thank you and my colleagues for the indulgence on this item. It's not a formal presentation, but it's actually an item on our agenda today. And well, I appreciate us taking this out of turn like this. But we have with us today many artists from throughout the city that are here celebrating with us as we declare October 12th a Mural Ordinance Day here in the city of Los Angeles, and we are celebrating the ending of Los Angeles' 11-year ban on new murals on private property. That's something we could all be very, very proud of. Congratulations to all of you. I want to thank, there you go, Tom. I want to thank all the people who came out this morning, our residents and community stakeholders, and especially our artists who have been there every step of the way, showing up at community forums, at multiple meetings, at full council, at planning commission meetings, always willing to engage in long, thorough, and thoughtful conversations about what the mural ordinance should look like. And let me be honest, initially, a lot of people took this with much suspect. They were worried about what type of government regulation would impede on an artist's ability to look at a blank wall and have them be as creative as they want to be. But through many discussions, through various variations, we came up with, I think, is the best possible way for the city of Los Angeles to move forward and allow murals go up once again on private property in the city of Los Angeles. I want to thank my staff, some staff members, Rick Coca and Tanner Blackman, for their hard work on this as well, never giving up and moving forward. And in particular, I want to thank the artists whose expertise, passion were the driving force in our efforts to move this forward. Throughout this effort, it's often been said how Los Angeles was once the mural capital of the world, and we want to continue to have that title. Through this ordinance, I think we will accomplish that. Through this ordinance, I think we will move forward to, again, continue to allow people to express themselves and not only beautify our communities with their artistic expression, but also make them safer, build that unity that we would like to see in some neighborhoods. I think David Alfaro Siqueiros would be proud. He is the grandfather of the Los Angeles mural movement, whose work like Tropical America, which you can see at El Pueblo, inspired a generation of artists in the 70s and 80s. And Siqueiros is still inspiring artists, and many of them are here today. So with that, let me invite up to the mic two of my colleagues who have been helpful and supportive all along in this. Councilmember Bonin, when he was chief of staff to our beloved former council member who used to represent that area. Bill, they were much involved in this as we moved it along well. Councilmember Bonin.
Thank you. Good morning, colleagues. This is a great day in the city of Los Angeles. It is also, Mr. Huizar, a day when we really need to thank you for your leadership on this. You and your staff worked incredibly hard on this. It wasn't easy. Thank you, because you're helping make Los Angeles true to what Los Angeles is. Los Angeles once was one of the mural capitals of the world. And something was wrong when one of the mural capitals of the world outlawed murals. And Mr. Huizar and his staff, working with the folks behind us, fixed that problem. And it is such an amazing thing, because Los Angeles, as much as we are one of the entertainment capitals of the world, we are one of the mural capitals of the world. It is part of our DNA. It is part of our expression. It is some of the most beautiful indigenous art that we have here in Los Angeles. I come off the 10 freeway when I drive into work instead of taking the mass transit. And when I come up Main Street. And there's a corner on Main Street where every 2 or 3 months there is a mural that changes. And it's an amazing thing to watch the rebirth and the relife and a new expression there at the corner every single time that changes. Los Angeles has such a rich population, such an incredible diversity, such artistic strength. Murals, particularly on people's residences and on their private property, give an opportunity for that life to be expressed all throughout the city so that each neighborhood has its own voice and each population has its own opportunity to express itself. This is a very good thing. This helps make Los Angeles true to what Los Angeles is supposed to be. Thank you to all the artists here behind us, and thank you again, Mr. Huizar, for your leadership.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Bonin. And our other colleague, once he got on board and became a council member, showed a strong interest in moving this. Our very initial conversations about what we need to do as council members included the conversation about the mural ordinance, where it was, and how we move it forward and get this done already. You know, Mr. Cedillo has very little patience for a slow-moving bureaucracy. And when he, in Plum, he was very helpful in moving this forward. But what I liked about hearing his comments about this ordinance was that he and I had the same experience growing up in Boyle Heights, looking at all those beautiful murals, and I know that that inspired him as well to make sure we move this forward. Mr. Cedillo. Thank you.
Mr. Cedillo. Mr. No Patience.
I could hardly state that any more effectively, and so I won't repeat that. I will say this, though. In a city that's known as a capital for entertainment, we rely on the arts. We rely on the diversity of culture. These are the sources of one of our major industries, and we have to recognize that. We were not fully thoughtful about how we went about repressing these incredible contributors to the civic and cultural and artistic life of our city. And so I was very happy to be part of the efforts to lift the band. Many of the artists that are here are my personal heroes. They do incredible work and have made incredible contributions. And I will say this, as my colleague, Mr. Huizar, said, we grew up in a community during a time of a renaissance of muralism. And I say to you that it was their work that was an inspiration and remains an inspiration for the image and self-image of so many young men and women, so many young boys and girls, giving them a positive picture of who they are, who they were, and who they can be. And for that, we cannot thank them enough, and I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cedillo. And last but not least, like I said, there's many artists here today who came to celebrate with us, who helped us move this forward. And we have a person who will speak for now to represent all of them. And they've all been very, very helpful, and as well as Judy Baca and many people to name, Isabel, many people to name. But Judy Baca will speak on behalf of them right now. Judy Baca from Spark. Let's give her a big round of applause.
My name is Judy Baca, and I am a muralist, and I have been a muralist for 40 years in the city of Los Angeles. And I wanted to remind the council this morning that it was nearly 40 years ago that you voted for the first time to support public murals in the city of Los Angeles, and I was a young girl standing in front of you directing that first program. Today is a glorious day. The lifting of this ban is a long, hard-fought battle. It's about the fact that we have cultural democracy in the city of Los Angeles. It's about the fact that artists can transform our neighborhoods. It's about the fact that all the artists behind me have given their life's blood, literally flesh against concrete, to produce some of the most marvelous works in this country. We need to bring our people back to the streets, to engage our communities again, and make Los Angeles the mural capital again. So thank you so much to our council people who did the right thing, to the arts groups, and the muralists who stood up for what is right, and for the fact that we can change our communities and make them beautiful again. And we're here to do that job. Thank you so much.
You know, Judy's comments remind me that as the city of Los Angeles moves from a reputation as a car culture to providing more safe streets and complete streets and more activity for our pedestrians to be able to walk down these streets. Public art is a huge and very important component of that movement and transformation that the City of Los Angeles is doing. So I think it's only fitting that we lift our mural ban so that we could continue in the transformation to provide more complete streets in the City of Los Angeles. So, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the artist community in the City of Los Angeles and the City of Los Angeles, we declare October 13th, 12th. I'm just checking you guys, so you guys know.
12th and 13th. What 12th. The heck,
okay,
Mr.
The Council President declares 2 days.
We declare every day.
Every day, the Mural Day in the City of Los Angeles. And we have some certificates for some of the artists and others who helped us. We're going to distribute those in the back. But thank you very much, Council President. This is something that the City of Los Angeles and this City Council should be very, very proud of. Thank you so much.
Okay, Mr. Labange.
Say, Mr. Huizar, what you said, Michael, what you said, Mr. Bonnet, and Mr. Cedillo. I've learned so much in my life in Los Angeles by reading plaques or looking at art for history. And when you spoke of the emerging times, Mr. Cedillo, how much that impacted people. And when I think of Saul Castro and Lincoln High School and all the transformation, how much that affected people to change the course of the human community here. Art is so important. And the greatest aspect of our jump in arts came post the Olympic Games, Judy Baca, as you know, because they had a great art festival in the Olympic Games, which got it somewhat institutionalized between the street as well as the community. Mr. Huizar, thank you for solving this problem that we had and for the collective group of all of us there. I just got to state, in our sister city of Mexico City, in Berlin, Los Angeles, we're the 3 capitals of the world for murals, and they will be again. And I'm pleased that all the work that you do, it does inspire somebody to do something. And we always hope that whoever does something does it right, whatever it is. But that's what art's all about. Congratulations. And I want to thank Albert and everybody down in Creative Services. Turn around, show them that plaque. That's great art, too. Hey, Ara.
Thank you, and I would be remiss if I didn't thank the Planning Department, the City Attorney, the Department of Cultural Affairs, and Building and Safety for their long efforts, and particularly to our attorneys in the City Attorney's Office. You know, it took a real legal, creative mind to take this out of the sign ordinance legal mumbo-jumbo and create something that's a lot simpler and away from all that other litigation going on there, and it was a creative legal way to do this. So I want to thank our city attorneys as well. Thank you so much. Thank you. Why don't we come in the back? We have...
Okay, if we could prepare to vote on that item, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, you know what I'm going to do, Mr. Clerk? I'm going to do 2 quick general public comment cards. If I could call forward Mr. John Walsh, and do we have Catherine Savage? Is there Catherine? Okay, if you could begin to come up. And so we'll start off with Mr. John Walsh, and then we'll go to Catherine Savage. Mr. Walsh, this is general public comment.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. The report just came out. Not a single white person has been bitten by a police dog in the county of Los Angeles. All of the dogs bite minorities. Is it because
hold Mr. Walsh's time. John, let me hold your time. I want to quiet it up.
I can out-shout anybody. That's okay.
No.
Okay.
Mr. Walsh, go right ahead.
I just want to know, and this was only sheriffs, I want to report on police dogs. I want to know, do blacks and Hispanics taste better? You don't have a damn interest. Meanwhile, dogs are biting and tearing blacks and Hispanics apart in this city. Come to my website, and you will see on the website a picture of a look-alike of Hillary Clinton groping Colonel Sanders. These campaign buttons, all of them are on my website, these sexist campaign buttons about Hillary Clinton, where? At the Republican convention. And Mr. Englander was there. I understand Mr. Englander bought some of them. They're vile. Come to our website and see what they're saying about Hillary Clinton. On her body, on her breasts, on her backside. It's all there. It's the Republicans. And this happened in Anaheim. And Mr. Englander thought it was funny. He's the only Republican up here. He's the only one. And you will see on my website, as you know, the federal government has called for a complete overhaul of Angel's Flight. The full story is not in the paper. 11 years ago, they asked for a walkway. Leon Prayport, now most of you weren't here 11 years ago or when the deal was settled 7 years ago. But for those who were there, the blood of Leon Prayport, the concentration camp victim who was killed, don't come to L.A.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. Thank you very much. If I can get Catherine Savage, followed by Don Ward. Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, council members. My name is Catherine Savage, and I ride my bike around LA. I live in Studio City, and I ride all over the city. I have friends who live in Silver Lake and Los Feliz, and I ride from Studio City all the time to go visit them. And I have 3 ways of riding my bike from Studio City to Los Feliz. I can bike over Cahuenga Pass, I can take Los Feliz, or I can take Hyperion to the south. They are all terrifying. I've ridden all of them. There are no bike lanes. Cars are speeding past me and not giving me much space at all when they go around me. All of those options have freeway exits and on-ramps that I have to contend with, except for Hyperion. So I choose to take Hyperion, even though it's still dangerous. And now I hear that the city wants to spend $50 million to essentially turn Hyperion into a freeway, increasing speed limits, putting in freeway walls, crash barriers, no bike lanes, and only a little sidewalk on one side. There'd be no easy access to the LA River, and it would be even worse than it is now. At the same time, the city currently wants to restore the LA River, Alternative 20, $1 billion to make the LA River a more enjoyable place, easier for people to walk and ride their bikes there. So I'm left thinking, do you want me to drive to the LA River just so that I can bike there?
Thank you, Ms. Savage. Thank you. Mr. Ward, followed by Arnold Sachs. Mr. Ward, followed by Arnold. Don Ward, followed by Arnold Sachs. Yes, Mr. Labange.
Speaker, I'd love to talk to you at the ropes after you're through. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hi, my comment relates to Catherine Savage's comment regarding our access to the LA River and access across the 5 freeway from Silver Lake to Atwater as cyclists, as pedestrians. I was at a rally 2 weeks ago for Alt 20, which calls for spending $1 billion to upgrade the LA River, and I'm all for that. I want to spend our money on that. The only problem is that we're also spending $50 million to turn Hyperion into a freeway, which doesn't allow me access to the river and all these beautiful things that we want for the river. And the same thing's happening on the Figueroa Bridge and Los Feliz and Fletcher. And we've been chirping and chatting and trying to get the attention of council members in that district to come to our side and help us change these plans. I mean, I know that you guys only have so much power against Caltrans or even the agencies like the LADOT. I know that you guys are somewhat powerless to do anything about that, but what you can do is, today is the last day for public comment on this ridiculous plan to turn Hyperion into a freeway corridor. All of you as individuals, not even as council members, can come out and make a public comment to Caltrans and say, we don't want this to be a freeway corridor into Silver Lake. We don't want freeway crash barriers. We want bike lanes. We want sidewalks that make sense. We want sidewalks on both sides of the bridge. We want LA's first green corridor to connect Silver Lake and Atwater and all the communities of Hollywood, Koreatown, historic Filipino town to the river. Thank you.
Okay, thank Mr. Sachs.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Arnold Sachs. And I was going to address some of your comments about how you make up legislation that you proposed when you were in the legislature or the assembly, and bills that you sponsored. But I haven't been able to do that because in the Daily Breeze yesterday there was a story about the Trade, Commerce, and Tourist special meeting, or today, regarding the multimodal transit system at the airport and how LAWA and Metro have come up with a plan to create a multimodal transportation designated area at 96th and Arbor Vita that will include car rental and people mover and underground rail station for the for the Green Line and the Crenshaw Line. And everybody is ecstatic about this new plan. We don't know how much it costs to do the study on this, but they're ecstatic. And I'm looking at this and I'm saying, what the hell? The Crenshaw Line and the Green Line are going to go north-south at Aviation and Century. And this multimodal place will be at 96th and Arbor Vita. So that's a gap right there. You have a gap right now for the Green Line to go to the airport. So this transportation plan that's spent how much? A couple of $1 million to be studied? All you've resulted in doing is moving the gap that is in the south part of the airport to the north part of the airport. There's no funding for Metro to connect any of these light rail lines to the transportation system. How is that possible? What kind of stupidity is going on here? And you have special joint committee meetings. And these people are worried about greening in L.A.
Thank you, Arnold. Thank you very much. Thank you, Arnold. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go back to the, Mr. Clerk, the regular agenda. We'll go back to general public comment in a bit. So we're going to go to, let me see. We'll go to item 3, called Special by Cards. John Walsh. Arnold, sorry I didn't call you before you sat back down. And constituent. So if we could have Mr. Walsh, Sachs, and constituent.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org, now on 4G. No more 3G. Okay, this again is REAP. As you know, these are all the bad boy and bad girl property owners. And what happens here is they didn't keep their buildings in code, and now they owe money. And this is an excellent program. And I'm going to finish early because certain people, when the 2 minutes come up, our president here lets them finish a sentence. But for white boys like me, I can't finish the sentence. You just shove it down my throat. HollywoodHighlands.org. The dogs are eating your people.
Stay on subject. No, look, he's disrupting. Do not holler from the council chambers or you will be asked to leave. Mr. Sachs, welcome. Item 3.
Thank you again.
Followed by constituent.
Arnold Sachs. And my concern here, again, as usual with the REAP program, is the use of the people that work for the city employees. You're out looking at these REAP violations, but yet you're not looking at violations of the ordinance that you passed regarding foreclosed, blighted property.
He is not talking about these REAP matters.
Arnold, please just go back.
I'm talking about the personnel used for REAP violations. And the use of that personnel could be better used to look at, if they're looking at REAP violations, then they could also be looking at foreclosed, blighted properties that would generate $1,000 fines per day per property. That's what I'm talking about. You heard yesterday about the fire department claiming they don't have the funds,
Arnold,
yet you're not going after those properties.
All right. Mr. Constituent, followed by Mr. Akala. In fact, Mr. Akala, you're there. Speak. Want you're there? Speak first.
Well, might as well. On page 5 of the Venice newspaper, you're going to be getting a copy. It says, Zipline leaves Juan smelling bullshit. A lot of the things you do smell like BS because you don't side with the people. That's all I can say. It's all BS.
He is not, well.
Well, he is gone. Okay, Mr. Herman, let's start his time. All right,
Good afternoon
start
and good
it.
morning. This is not the Colbert report, and this is not Jon Stewart report. This is LA report. Adopt the accompanying resolutions removing the following properties. How much further will these REAP continue to reap and reap and reap at the public? The public is at a standstill due to the disaster of our economy. And we all know that the economy has not fully recovered. And going back on the topic of REAP, so how do you expect people to continue to fall away from a lien, which is a legal claim on a property of another person for the satisfaction of a debit or duty? Come on. Right now, Congress is fighting over a debit ceiling.
He is not
and
talking
a
about
debit.
these REAP
Stay
matters.
on the subject, constituent. No, stay on the subject. You know what it is.
As a result, and a fact, we hear about these compliances that are being enforced against people who have a habitability citation against their property, such as 1109 East 108th Street, 1109 East 108th Street again, and what about 15510 South Vermont? This is only a few of the REAP actions taken by the City of Los Angeles, and I hope a senator and a congressman are listening. This is a local issue, and when they approach you on a local issue, yes, we expect the same results. Look into these problems, investigate them on behalf of your constituents. The constituents that are being denied a home, habitability, and reform that is admittedly needed.
Thank you. Thank you. Your time is over. Thank you. Okay, let us vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, now we'll go to item 5, which is called special by Mr. Walsh, Mr. Sachs, Mr. Okala. Mr. Walsh, followed by Mr. Arnold Sachs.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. Go there and be amazed. Or J. Walsh Confidential. This concerns the Sunshine Canyon Community Amenities Fund. Sunshine Canyon is very important. They were going to put a garbage dump there, but we fought it there's no garbage dump there. So that's why we'll always remember how brave the people live in Sunshine Canyon. And they do deserve, out of this Amenities Trust Fund, they certainly deserve a park, or rather a pool. So this would be money from the Parks Foundation. And incidentally, the mayor has not appointed a new Parks and Rec commission. We still have the same ones there. And authorizes the city clerk to make any technical corrections, fine. And we like to salute. Remember, when you do a good job, I say you do a good job. When you don't do a good job and you don't give a damn about blacks and Hispanics being torn apart by police dogs.
Stay on the subject, Mr. Walsh. Okay, thank you. Mr. Sachs. No, you're not on the subject. Mr. Sachs.
Yes, thank you. Good morning again, Arnold Sachs. Surprising, the $350,000 in the Sunshine Canyon Communities Amenity Trust Fund is actually money that's accumulated from the Sunshine Canyon Community Landfill. That's where the money comes from. So to say there's not a garbage dump there, what would the landfill be? Now, several years ago, the Board of Supervisors increased the size of the intake for that landfill by 6,600 tons a day, from 36,000 tons to 66,000 tons. But it should have actually been 72,600 tons. So that means 6,600 tons a day of trash are not being collected, because that's what the Board of Supervisors math is. That means that community landfill amenities funds is not being counted. That's a 30-year plan. And the reason they expanded it is to include cities' trash. That's community amenities funds that's not being collected. Now, out of the 30-year plan that this contract is in effect, if you do the math, you will find that's 5 years. 5 years, every day, 6,600 tons of free trash going to the landfill over the 30-year period of that contract that's been enforced by the Board of Supervisors. 5 years free trash. Now, I believe when you did the franchise fee for the trash compactors, I believe Mr. Englander was concerned about money to come for the roads. 6,600 tons, 200 trash trucks a day on the roads for free.
Thanks, Arno. Have a good weekend. Okay, Mr. Akala, followed by Mr. Herman.
I don't know. I wanted to say something really profound, but he filled my head full of figures.
No, let's stay on the subject. Stay on the subject.
Yeah, the landfill, all those things, 30-year plan. Dude, we're not even going to be alive 10 years the way we're going. Santa Monica says that...
Mr. City Attorney, does this have anything at all to do with this item? Mr. Akala, did you read this item? Then I'm going to give you a chance to speak on it again.
Okay.
On the point.
Okay, the point is, relative to the funding for any aspect of the efforts operating of the Los Angeles Parks Foundation for the development of the Granada High Pool and Aquatic Center. That's what... Yeah,
go ahead.
We're doing a really bad job all around the world.
Thank you, Mr. Akala. Mr. Herman? You know what? Put his time up and start it. When I call your name, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Wesson, and thank you, council members. If I'm right, $350K is a lot of cash, considering we're taking them out of the Amenity Trust Fund, similar to the Clark's funds. But on this issue of this $350,000 in the Sunshine Canyon Community Amenities Trust Fund, where has it been where there has been necessary documents placed for the public to see to review the data and do our own perspective look as into the costs and expenditures that are being applied here at this pool party. It's interesting to find out that while some city prepare to process these type of necessary fundings or funds for a park, there are other more expensive funds needed for other reasons of city ongoings. But let me conclude. The city clerk has made an attempt to any technical corrections or clarifications to the above fund of these transfers instructions in order to effectuate the intent of this motion. Now allow the public to have a comment when it comes to the intent of these types of fundings so that they can be involved to see where these Clark funds are being trust fund into any Department of Parks and Recs. But you know what? While we're here, I'm for it. Go for it. Put a new pool in because this is all we need.
Thank you. Let's prepare to vote on this item, Madam Clerk. Let's open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, now we're going to go back to general public comment. If I could get Richard Robinson, followed by Juan Acala.
Finally, we know what we're talking about.
Richard, come on.
Mr. President, members, because the frost on the pumpkins will turn to ice and snow, up north, winter weather will bring south to the warm weather of Southern California thousands of homeless. The need for increasing numbers of beds will become an imperative. Sir, as the Prudential's John Arrow Group builds its marvelous loss, as tens of thousands of folks move, middle class and upper class folks enjoy Los Angeles. However, let's not forget the homeless folks. The problem is not homeless people in Los Angeles. The problem is homelessness. At 5th and Main, the former $1 million, pardon me for preaching, but the former $1 million hotel, as I've stated many times before, that Skid Row hotel can be renovated. Willie Brown started in San Francisco a workable solution. There is essentially no more homelessness. Those who are on the streets choose to be on the streets. They're not forced to be on the streets in San Francisco. Hotels are opening up. Gavin Newsom helped Willie Brown. I think that a community awareness treatment service like that started by Gavin and Willie in Los Angeles at 5th and Main can help tens of thousands of homeless in the county. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Okay, Juan Acala, followed by Herman, followed by Cooper Bobby. Please come forward.
I agree very little with the man before me. People do not choose to be on the streets. They get thrown out. Then they realize that they don't need to go through the bullshit that we're subjected in society by paying rent all our lives and working like a slave, and City Hall keeps living lavishly. The politicians can go anywhere they want to. They can go hire any women they want to. They can do anything they want to. And the people eat shit.
Okay, Acala, this is never your style. I just want to make sure you want to go down this road.
Well,
I mean, you've been very sensitive to people, but I mean, if you want to come up here and show that all you can do is swear, go right ahead.
No, I'm not doing that.
That's what you're doing. You don't care about children that are watching this? Hey, I'm the president. I can interrupt you when you're not talking the way you're supposed to talk.
Okay, as of August 7, we were given the power to say things like I said. The people do have some power over you.
Hold his time. Okay, Mr. Akala, go right ahead. I'm sorry. Give him another 10, 15 seconds.
Thank you. See, the people now have power over the people that think have more power over the people. You do not have the power over the people. We are supposedly electing you. And you are doing everything that the people don't want you to do. We don't want any more mortgage crisis. We don't want any more of that. We don't want any more homelessness. We don't want any more poverty. But you keep shoving it on us. City Hall, you are guilty every time that a person dies on the street because they don't have a blanket. You are guilty. You are criminals. And it is at the city level that all this havoc is created. It is not at the state level or the federal level. We don't even have a federal government, and we don't need it. Just like the country of, where is it at? Somewhere in Europe, they don't, they don't have one. They don't need one.
No, you have 10 more seconds.
Thank you. So I say, let's create a program where everybody will be housed without a landlord. We don't need no landlordship.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Herman, followed by Cooper Bobby, or Bobby Cooper. Yes.
Good afternoon. A reminder again of the responsibility of a local municipality, which is the Guide to Disability Rights Laws. Title II covers all activities of state and local government, including the Brown Act and the Act of Freedom of Speech. We already know that our government, Congress, has a debit limit. The same way this city has exhausted its limit of expenditures and now wants to tax all of you. We, the taxpayers. You, the taxpayers of Los Angeles, and yet many of you don't come here to exhaust your frustration, your feelings of what this city could be and what it cannot do for you. So speak out, please speak out. You have that right. Look at the interference here with Dollhouse Dude. What about the interference with Zuma Dog, David Salzberg? What about the problem with Michael Hunt on the hunt? But I'm going to go back to topic because my concern today talks about the miscalculations of this city to abuse the funds of its constituents and the people of Los Angeles, whether it's this camera or that camera. If you want to get a close-up, it's today in this modern time, people lie on the street homeless, a situation that this city has created and has ignored for the longest time. And what about affordable housing? We brought in this large company to build lofts and apartment buildings, and yet Section 8 is closed. Why? Open it up for people with disabilities. Open it up if your concern is about the veterans of the United States of America who served this country, to give you a right to sit there and judge us. That's not right. And so I want you, Mr. LeBond, I want you, Mr. Fuentes, take your attitude back to Sacramento and say, look, residents need housing.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Is it Cooper Bobby or Bobby Cooper? Okay, come on up, sir.
As you know, my name is Bobby Cooper. I'm here today because I've been coming down here 3 years now, humbling myself before council, trying to find my mother's body and the demise of the rest of my family. Now I have paperwork that shows that someone in these nursing homes are trying to get rid of me. I came down here yesterday and I looked at the offices with the families and stuff, and I decided not to speak because what I had to say would greatly embarrass the city and would embarrass the offices and the families and stuff. I've been dealing with the person outside here. You call us, well, you say that he's handling the mayor's business. I won't be bringing allegations to this forum again unless nothing is done about my allegations out there with the mayor's office. My wife is missing. My mother's body, her ashes, or whatever you did with her body, I can't find out because these are law enforcement and civil service workers working together. I have documents stating that they're trying to have picked out a funeral home for me. I don't have much more to say than that you've harassed me with your police officers and your social services workers for more than 3 years. From Riverside County, stolen everything we own. My bank accounts, everything is tied up. You got one African-American officer, after they told him to let me in my office, he nails my office up because he got a badge. You ought to be able to do something about that. As I stated, I don't intend on coming down here making no allegations against anyone without merit, but I will be following this form of the law as long as you have it.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper. That ends general public comment for today's council session. Mr. Clerk, where does that bring us to at this time?
Mr. President, Council has motions for posting and referral.
They are posted and referred.
The desk is clear.
Okay, announcements. Mr. Labange.
AIDS Walk this Sunday, and we join in West Hollywood right there by San Vicente. All are welcome, I believe at 9 in the morning. AIDS Walk this Sunday.
Thank you. Mr. Buscaino.
Thank you, Mr. President. Taste of Italy tomorrow at the historic Pico House to Alvera Street. Kicks off at 5 p.m. and goes till 9. And on Sunday is our second annual Pasta with the Councilman Block Party in celebration of Italian American Heritage Month at 1901 South Cabrillo at the Italian American Hall. Everyone's welcome from 12 to 5. Free food, free entertainment. And Mama Rosa's pasta sauce.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Buscaino. Mr. Blumenfield?
See, preparedness forum and celebration is going to be tomorrow, Saturday, at the Promenade Mall in Woodland Hills, right in the parking lot on the corner of Topanga. So come there. There's going to be a lot of excitement, a shaky house, and a lot of information to learn about being prepared for emergencies.
Thank you, sir. Mitch O'Farrell.
We have the Music Box Steps celebration at the Music Box Steps in Silver Lake tomorrow at noon, right there at Vendome, just south of Sunset Boulevard, where they will show the 1932 short film, The Music Box with Laurel and Hardy. It's a wonderful celebration. They have it every year, and it is tomorrow at noon. Hope to see you all there.
Thank you. Members, any other announcements? Could all in the council chambers please rise for adjourning motions? Please rise. Okay, Mr. Labange, I'm going to look to your side. Mr. Koretz.
Thank you, Mr. President. Don Winnett, a lifelong resident of Los Angeles, commercial property owner, and community leader on Melrose Avenue, passed away October 10th. He was a founder of the successful drive to revitalize the area through formation of the Melrose Bid, and his vision for a bright future and his focused determination and tireless efforts to achieve that vision will be much missed. He left a brother, Kenny, a sister, Stacy, who are both at his bedside, and he is mourned by the entire community.
Okay, anyone else on this side of the aisle? Okay, now we're going to go to Mr. Blumenfield's adjourning motions on this side. Okay, with that said, I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. This council meeting is adjourned.